It's 1988 in Chile. The country is under the Pinochet dictatorship, which means that free speech is non-existent. Speaking against the dictator is reason enough to get thrown in jail. Dozens of protesters and activists are currently imprisoned at the public penitentiary in Santiago. After months of hunger strikes, their request is finally granted. All political prisoners will be separated from the actual criminals. Warden Andrade is not happy about that. Yelling at Colonel Jorquera, he says these men have been arrested under the anti-terrorist law. Giving in to their wishes is nothing less than negotiating with terrorists. Jorquera has a totally different view. He says it's much easier to keep an eye on them if they're all kept in one place. The process of moving the inmates is a nasty business. While the common prisoners yell profanities at them, the guards use the transition as another opportunity for cruelty. Once they are finally all gathered at the prison yard, Jorquera speaks to them briefly. He says they are responsible for finding their own bed within that cell block. Among the relocated prisoners is a group of men who are determined to escape, but they already face a major setback on day one. For their plan to work, they're supposed to get 2 specific cells, one on the ground floor, and the other one immediately above it. They successfully secure the first, which is the sweet spot to dig their tunnel to freedom. Patricio Velasquez takes that one for himself and Rafael Jimenez. But when Leon Vargas gets to the upper floor, cell number 50 is already taken. Not wanting to raise suspicions, he doesn't try to negotiate, taking cell 51 instead. Then Rafael arrives with German Sanchez. They get mad to see they've got the wrong cell, but Leon tells them to let go of their pessimism. On day 3, there's a football match going on, and most of the inmates are gathered to watch it. Leon takes the opportunity to discuss the plan with German and Rafael. They are wondering if their political party will help them at all. Rafael thinks they should try to establish some communication with them, but Leon thinks it's too risky. They begin to fight again. Rafael says Leon is not as invested in the operation as the rest of them because no one is waiting for him on the other side of those bars. Leon looks angry enough to hit him, and the guards are ready to interfere, but German makes them calm down and focus on getting out of this hellhole. Leon calculates that a tunnel would have to be about 70 meters long. It won't be easy to dig all that as secretly as they need. But that's not even their main problem. They need to find a place to hide over 60 tons of dirt. A few days later, the group meets in Rafael's cell to decide where they should start digging. A gaping hole in the middle of the wall is the kind of thing that can raise eyebrows in a prison. So that's the first concern. No one has a Rita Hayward poster lying around, and no one is willing to bet on that kind of thing. They've already seen the guards destroy all the decorations in a cell over silly suspicions, and more than once. The solution is to cut out a block off the wall and use it as a tunnel cork. The block can be removed to give them passage, and then put right back. It must blend in with the rest of the wall in a seamless way, and each time they leave the tunnel, they'll have to carefully seal the entrance. One of the men in Leon's group is a musician. His name is Lalo, and his cheerful attitude helps him get away with anything, including smuggling a screwdriver into their cell. Leon begins to use it to open a hole on the ceiling. Later on, a group of new prisoners are brought in. Rafael recognizes one of them. It's a young man named Oscar Lira. His father, Eugenio Lira, is regarded as a hero by the resistance. Eugenio was executed some time ago after someone snitched on him. Meanwhile, a lawyer named Fabiola Pizarro is arriving at the prison with a priest. They are both human rights representatives who need to check the living conditions of the inmates. The warden laughs at her good intentions and tells her to go away. At cell 51, the group is busy breaking the ceiling. Whatever noise they make is neutralized by Lalo and his merry songs. Rafael and Patricio are carefully collecting every little piece that comes off until the square comes tumbling in a disastrous way. There's not much time to clean up that mess and make the hole disappear before someone notices. Lalo talks to another inmate about some reading material. He understands what he means by that instantly handing over some of the pictures from his collection. That covers up the hole temporarily, while the others are gathering as many eggs as they can to make the mixture for the cork block. But wait a minute, why are they making a hole upwards? Don't they know how tunnels work? Sure they do. That secondary hole is the solution to their first problem. As Leon suspected, there is a huge area between the ceiling and the roof, just waiting for 60 tons of dirt to be dumped there. Of course, the guards then choose this exact moment for a surprise inspection. Luckily, the team is prepared. Lalo grabs the guitar and begins a lively song, which they had previously chosen as a code. He makes sure to spread his contagious joy so that many voices join in and the song is heard upstairs. When the inspection gets to cell 51, the ceiling is full of pretty ladies. One of the guards decided to confiscate them. It seems like he also wants to catch up with his reading. He pulls down each picture one by one, but when he gets to the one that is covering the hole, he decides to leave it there. The lady is not his type. Day 34 is also visitation day. The priest is back again. He's here to visit a guy in a wheelchair named Emilio, and they end up talking about Leon. Emilio says he never comes out on visitation day because it's too painful. Only now we understand how mean Rafael's comment really was. Pinocchio had Leon's entire family killed. Speaking of Rafael, his wife is visiting. Paulina has some difficult news to tell him. She's sending their kids to live in another city so that she can focus on her work. Rafael is upset, but she reminds him that he has always put the cause above his family. Patricio is also having an argument with his visitor. His father is Gaston Velasquez. As they are both doctors, Gaston keeps talking about the brilliant future that Patricio decided to throw away. Weeks later, there's an incident at their cell block. In the middle of the night, a man named Bigode is removed from his cell at gunpoint without any explanation. Everyone wakes up with the noise and the prisoners begin to protest. Bigode is released in the morning and he comes to see Patricio for a post-interrogation medical checkup. It's day 59 now. Some of the logistic problems have been solved and each member of the group is assigned a specific task. What comes out of the wall goes into several small bags. Large ones draw too much attention. Then those bags are gradually taken upstairs by different men. Then they all go up the hole to their resting place over the ceiling. It sounds simple, but it requires a lot of patience and hard work, especially because they have to keep sealing both holes again, and they have to look perfect. All of this is done every single day, with very little progress to keep them motivated. On day 77, Leon measures the tunnel, and that tanks their morale even more. He doesn't even want to calculate how long it would take to finish the job at this rate. The truth is they need more men, no matter how risky it is to bring more people in. And it only makes it worse that the guards seem to be getting even tougher on all of them. Oscar Lira is put in solitary confinement for talking back one day. Right after that, German is intercepted by a guard on his way to cell 51. He wants to see what he is taking upstairs. Reluctantly, German opens the bag. There's nothing but the most innocent objects. The bag of dirt is below that, of course, but the guard is too lazy to search it properly. A week later, Oscar shows Andre that solitary confinement wasn't enough to break his spirit. Upset at his defiant attitude, the officer tells him to be careful if he doesn't want to join his dad at the bottom of the sea. When he's released from solitary, his brother comes to visit. Apparently, everyone goes to this prison to have a fight with their loved ones. The brothers have similar political views but disagree on the methods. Later that day, the TV room is crowded. The inmates are watching the results of the latest referendum about ending the military dictatorship. Pinocchio wins by a very small margin, and everyone begins to shout that the whole thing is rigged. There is no hope for democracy, which means there's no hope for them to be ever released. The only way out is underground. Determined to speed up the process, the group gathers a handful of inmates who can be trusted. At first, they think they're all looking at a dull wall with nothing special about it. Leon shows them the magic trick. Then he explains every part of the operation, making it clear that the plan is risky and there is no guarantee of success. They are all happy to join the team. With their manpower tripled and working double shifts, they expect to move 100 kilos of dirt every day. They are also open to more applicants, as long as each name is run by the original members first. Bigot is one of those names, but Raphael is not sure about him. A lot more work is getting done, but it's also getting harder and harder because it's already summer and the noise makes it impossible to work during the night. Besides all that, they must keep their normal activities as usual, as if nothing had changed. Also, everyone must make sure to always be very clean and never give away what they've been doing. Most of them manage to follow all of these strict rules imposed by Leon. A few details do slip through the cracks, but not enough to make the guards look closer. The ones who notice it are their fellow inmates who keep asking to be included. One of them is Oscar Lira, and he gets accepted after a brief screening. The radio brings bad news on day 149. There's been an attack in a neighboring town, and it was claimed by their own political party. This is exactly the kind of thing that makes them look like terrorists. A few weeks later, Raphael arranges a conjugal visit with Paulina. If a voyeur managed to peep somehow, he would be very disappointed. The couple is just talking. Raphael tells her about the plan. He wants her to help them get some outside support before their own party ruins their chances. Without a little hand from the other side, they'll never make it out safely. She says it's too risky, and the consequences could be terrible for the whole family. But she can't stop thinking about it. On day 205, a bunch of guards arrive at once, trashing everything on their way. It's a massive surprise inspection all over the cell block. Lalo is deep inside the tunnel when it starts. Leon and German hurry to alert their partners, but the guards are bound to reach their area before they can pull Lalo out and rearrange everything as they normally do. The only way out of this one is by creating a distraction. Raphael pretends to be deeply upset with the way the guards are treating him. So much suspicion all the time is hurting his feelings. The guards respond by telling him exactly what to do with his feelings, just as he expected them to. Raphael then begins to insult the guards, making sure that the confrontation escalates. It's a risky move, but it does work. Lalo comes out of the tunnel and the entrance is sealed while the altercation is still going on downstairs. In fact, the guards are so busy with the riot that they just give up on the inspection altogether. Warden Andrade is informed about the situation and comes right away. That man will never miss an opportunity to punish people. This time, he makes them remove most of their clothing before going to the prison yard. There, they are forced to stay still in a very uncomfortable position under the scorching sun. They remain like that for the rest of the morning and the entire afternoon. Meanwhile, Paulina has made up her mind. She is at the headquarters of the party right now, trying to explain the situation. The secretary tells her that Raphael and his friends are behind bars because they got caught. This is their responsibility. The party refuses to spend their scarce resources on a risky mission on their behalf. Doing her best not to slap that man's face, Paulina leaves the building determined to find another way. She ends up finding the solution in a church, but not by finding Jesus or anything like that. She remembers that the priest never misses a single visitation day of penitentiary. By now, he must be tired of waiting for a miracle. Pauline is right about that. The priest helps her use the church as a meeting place that no one would suspect. German's wife is also there, pretending to pray. Each Sunday their group grows, as more friends and relatives come to join Paulina. The tunnel is getting too long now. Each man stays about 1 hour at the furthest point, exactly where it is hard to breathe. A serious incident happens on day 392. One of them faints inside the tunnel. He could have suffocated if the next guy were not near enough to pull them out. That means the problem cannot be ignored any longer. The carpenter is invited to join the future fugitives in exchange for his skills. He creates a tubular structure that works like an air duct. It brings enough oxygen into the tunnel, and the group can get back to work. Months go by, and one day, We find out that Raphael was right about Bigot, unfortunately. In order to enjoy privileges like cigarettes, he agrees to snitch on his fellow inmates. But it's not all bad news, though. By now, Paulina's group is highly coordinated and ready to help. That's how the prisoners find out that the tunnel has finally surpassed the perimeter of the prison. It doesn't mean it's finished, as that spot is a bit too close, but it helps to boost their confidence in the plan. It's day 558 when Leon shares the secret with one more person. It's Emilio, the guy in the wheelchair. They have developed a solid friendship over the last year, and Leon wants him to come with them. Emilio tells him that it's impossible. He would only slow them down and put the whole operation at risk. He has made his peace with his fate by now, and knowing that his friends are free will be enough for him. Day 567 is the one. The time has finally come. Everyone is at the TV room in the evening. The show is so boring that no one suspects anything when some men begin to get up and leave. Leon is next to the entrance, counting the men as they go into the tunnel. There are 50 of them now. Bigot eventually notices that something is off. Emilio tries to stall them, but that only makes him more suspicious. When he gets to their cell, Oscar is the only one who hasn't entered the tunnel yet. They begin to fight, and Bigot gets knocked unconscious. But Oscar is also badly hurt. The poor boy never makes it into the tunnel. All the others are inside, waiting like a giant centipede. Finally, one of their friends opens the other end of the tunnel. As the men begin to emerge, Paulina hands them some new clothes. Her group has also arranged a bus to pick them up. German decides to go back for Oscar but gives up when the prison sirens are heard. After the bus leaves, Paulina gives fake documents to each man, as well as some cash. They are dropped off in pairs or trios at different points of the city, ready to enjoy their freedom again. And this is the end. This was a recap of the 2020 movie Jailbreak Pact by Storyboard Media, starring Benjamin Vicuna and Roberto Farias. So, why do you think these guys succeeded when so many others have tried and failed? Let us know in the comments below with #CinemaRecap. Until next time.